Project 2025, which is Donald Trump's plan.
Well, no, it's not, actually. So it's like, I'm not going to let you come up here and just lie. That's not true. It was done by an outside group. He had nothing to do with it. But
the
let's
Heritage
talk.
Foundation, which he took over 60% of his policies from in his first term. You're going to say he's completely separate from the Heritage Foundation? Also,
yes, I will.
The authors of Project 2025 were senior people in his first office.
What's happening, everybody? Well, Charlie Kirk was at it again when he visited yet another campus to talk with students on social and political issues. Charlie Kirk spoke with one student, a Kamala Harris supporter, who parroted the talking points of the liberal mainstream media. Unsurprisingly, Charlie Kirk corrected the young lady with facts, not feelings. Let's take a look.
Okay, no, here we go. Please come up to the mic.
Hi, Charlie. My name is Sophie, and I have a couple questions for you. My first is that, do you believe in state rights?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay. Are you okay then with the possibility of having a nationwide abortion ban?
I mean, there's zero chance of that happening, but of course, one day I would love to have that happen. Yeah, I mean, we can't get 30 Republican senators to agree that they're pro-life, and so it's fear-mongering by your preferred candidate to try to hold on to political power.
So
and by the way,
you're okay with it, though, if it were to pass? If there were to be a national abortion ban, you would be okay with
well,
that?
you know what? It's not what Charlie Kirk wants. If it were to pass, it means the people want it. Because the representatives reflect the will of the people.
Or it could be enacted as an executive action.
Well, no, it can't. First of all,
you can reinstate the Comstock Law and have it apply to
the Supreme Court has said that it's to the states, and that's where it holds right now. I think that's a really good place for it, considering the temperature of the country.
Project 2025, which is Donald Trump's plan.
Well, no, it's not, actually. So it's like, I'm not going to let you come up here and just lie. That's not true. It was done by an outside group. He had nothing to do with it. But
the Heritage Foundation, which he took over 60% of his policies from in his first term. You're going to say he's completely separate from the Heritage Foundation? Also,
yes, I will.
The authors of Project 2025 were senior people in his first office.
Well, hold on. Since we're talking about Project 2025, maybe you can help me explain this. Do you support Kamala Harris getting rid of the filibuster to restore Roe versus Wade?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe in the filibuster.
You don't believe in the filibuster?
I think it's anti-democratic.
Okay. Do you think we should ban fracking?
Yes, I do.
Does your candidate?
She's kind of iffy on that one. She was against it, or she was for banning fracking in her.
Do you think she's telling the truth when she says she's for it?
Well, for banning fracking?
No, that she says she's for fracking. Is she telling the truth?
I think that she's being pushed one way or the other because people, or she's working on winning an election.
Oh, winning an election, so just tell the voters what they want, right?
I think that if you want to win an election, you have to sometimes compromise on the things that you originally believed in. She realized that it was not a productive policy when she was running in 2020, and she didn't get the nomination, so she backstepped. And it's okay for people to change their opinions when they've learned more.
What is her greatest accomplishment?
She's had a record number of tie-breaking votes in the Senate of any vice president ever.
What's the greatest legislative accomplishment you'd point to?
I don't have.
No, but the tie-breaking vote. Tell me one tie-breaking vote.
Hey, if you like watching videos like these, like, subscribe, and blah, 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 blah. Let's get back to the video.
Oh, I wish I had this on the top of my head, but I don't. I have another question for you. Do you believe in parents' rights?
I'm curious about her achievements. Of course, parents can't abuse their kids, but I do believe in parents' rights. Yes, but tell me this.
Do you believe that it's okay to ban critical race theory nationwide?
Yes, of course we should ban critical race theory from publicly funded schools.
Rights.
No, okay. Again, I'm happy to.
That's backwards.
Well, hold on. Do you think that we should teach eugenics in our schools?
We do teach about eugenics.
No, teach it as fact.
But we teach about it when we talk about
Nazi Germany. No, should we teach it as fact?
About eugenics.
Yes.
Explain your question more.
So critical race theory is immoral and wrong and believes that certain races are not worthy of being treated as well.
No, critical race theory is about defining structures and
right. So tell me who was the original author of, since you know about it, who was the original critical race theorist in the 1990s? Name one.
I don't have the names off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's Derek Bell, Angela Davis.
You just said that you were for
Kimberly
parents'
Crenshaw.
rights. But you're against parents' rights, and you're okay with them having a nationwide ban for critical race theory. And for
hold on a second. I do not believe that we should be teaching children that white people are bad because of the color of their skin. I think that's repulsive, and it's wrong.
That is fine as a belief.
No, that's what CRT is.
That goes against your own belief in parents' rights. Do you believe in small government?
Hold on a second. Let me answer. Let's slow down a second. Parents' rights. If a parent wants to homeschool their kids and teach critical race theory, they have the right to do that. We should not taxpayer fund it, though. But let me ask you this question.
But if parents are taxpayers,
let me ask you this question.
And their taxpayer money is going to publicly funded schools, that's pretty counterintuitive.
Let me ask you this question. Your candidate right now is not doing very well. You agree?
No, I don't. I think it's actually just a neck and neck race. It's going to be one of the margins.
Okay, great. So why?
So I don't know if you caught it right at the end there when Charlie said, your candidate's not doing that well. She says, no, I don't believe that. I think it's neck and neck, and it's going to be one on the margins. I did a video recently where Mark Cuban on CNN said the exact same thing. So not only based on everything that this girl has said and will say throughout the video, it's not much of a stretch to assume she's getting all of her talking points from CNN. I could be wrong, but I don't see one on the margins coming out of her mouth if she wasn't prompted to say it. So I guess this girl's strategy is to talk really fast, ask questions, hope that Charlie Kirk contradicts himself somehow, and get a win for her side. I notice this a lot with people arguing from the left, especially students. Talk real fast. They have like 10 facts or questions in their head. They want to rattle them off super quick. If it gets shot down, they move on to the next one. But they'll say, do you believe in this? Yes. And then they think they got him. They say, well, that means you don't believe in this. Oh, you're contradicting yourself. All the time, man. It's so common. Just to illustrate what I'm saying, the first example, do you believe in states' rights? Yes. Do you think there should be a national abortion ban? No. Oh, then you're going against states' rights. That is the dumbest argument. I mean, if she was going to use this strategy, come up with something better than that. And she very briefly and unsuccessfully goes down this rabbit hole of, well, an abortion ban could be put in place by executive action. No, it can't. The Supreme Court just ruled on it. It's to the states. And personally, if anybody watches this channel, you know I'm not a fan of abortion, but I think that's where the decision should be made at the state level. Like I said, that argument was very brief because she knew it was going nowhere. So then what does she do? Before Charlie gets his last word out of his previous sentence, she very speedily asks her next question. I don't know why they have to talk so fast. Maybe hoping to confuse the person they're talking to. I don't know. This time she uses two equally unrelated topics using the same strategy as the previous question, citing critical race theory and parental rights. I won't go through it and waste your time, but you saw how she went through that. That doesn't make any sense. Parents do have rights. If they want to teach critical race theory to their kids, I don't know why they would, but if they do, go ahead. Anyway, let's get back to the video and see if she's any more successful and gets her big gotcha moment on tape in front of Charlie Kirk. Let's go.
Why is it that most Americans think that Trump handled the economy better than Kamala and Biden?
Because he inherited Obama's economy. Because we went into a recession. We went into inflation at the end of his term. Joe Biden inherited inflation. Joe Biden inherited his tax policies. Joe Biden. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going to teach an economics class right now. Do you believe in small government?
Of course
That's
I
my question.
How many of you guys in the audience are getting crushed by inflation right now? Raise your hand.
All of us.
Look at this.
All of us. It's a global issue.
Wait, you're being crushed by your own vice president.
It's a global issue. Do you understand what? Do people here understand what a vice president does?
What has your vice president? What has Kamala done to secure the border?
People understand what a vice president does.
Wait, hold on a second. What does Joe Biden do?
He's the president.
Oh.
So she has to do whatever he wants her to do. That's what a vice president does. I'm sorry, you still haven't answered my question. Do you believe in small government?
Yes, you're doing a sequence of questions. Yes, I do. In what context, though? I believe the government should be small but strong.
Small but strong. Explain that.
So small in its scope, strong in its enforcement. It should have morally clear terms of what it does. Yes.
So you're okay with expanding the military as it is part of the government?
No, actually. By the way, one of the reasons that we're here is because Kamala Harris is a warmonger who wants to send hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine while our own border remains wide open, and 320,000 kids are missing in sex trafficking because of your preferred candidate, Kamala Harris. Are you worried about those 320,000 missing kids?
Of course I'm worried about children. However, I don't believe that the vice president is responsible for that.
She's in charge of the border. She took credit for the border. She's the border czar. Joe Biden said this is who's in. She was said, I am in charge of the border. How has she done it doing that, by the way? Has she done a good job managing the border?
I honestly disagree with all of the past administrations on their border policies, personally.
Okay, but do you think she's done a good job?
No, I don't think anybody's done a good job.
Do you want
However, there was an incredible, very strict border bill that went into the Senate and was voted down because Donald Trump himself wanted it to be a voting issue.
It's BS. And
no, people, there's literally quotes. There's literally quotes of people saying it.
So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but let me ask you, how many people would have been allowed to cross the border every day in the bill? Tell me.
It's in the tens of thousands.
5,000 people a day.
Yeah.
It would. So that means.
I'm not against that.
Do you believe in borders?
I do believe in borders, but I'm not against limiting by a random number. That's a random number. So we need to pay attention to the context in which people are crossing the border, why they're doing that. Context is important.
So when someone robs a bank, if they're hungry, that's okay?
Say it again.
If someone is poor, should they be able to break into America?
That's not at all what I'm insinuating.
No, what's the context then? I don't understand.
Nobody's breaking into... When you're talking about legal border crossings...
No, these are...
You're talking about 5,000 a day legal border crossings.
No, these are not... These are illegal entries into the United States of America.
Do you know that there have been more arrests under this administration for people crossing the border than there were during Donald Trump's
Yeah, because there's more
administration?
people coming across the southern border.
So context matters.
Yeah, 10 million people are illegally in the country. Let me ask one final question. Do you think Kamala Harris did a good job managing the Russian-Ukrainian war? She went to the Munich Security Conference days before the invasion. Is she someone that you think is a smart person?
I do think she is a smart person. That is a separate question. I don't believe that the Ukrainian war has been handled well by anyone in government. Personally, I think we can say eye to eye on that.
What's one thing Trump did right as president?
I'll help you out. He did a lot of good things. One of the things that he did was he was the president who really boosted the economy of the United States.
I disagree with that.
Started no wars.
That's not true either.
That is true.
No, he was a part of the Abraham Accords, which is the reason why Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. But that was because of his participation in creating the Abraham Accords.
Talk to me. Just talk to me here.
Okay. I can't think of a single thing that he's done that I would support. I disagree with it. What would you list as
The only
his favorite?
thing that I can add there is you've said that what does a vice president do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That she has to do whatever the president wants her to do. But when she was asked just a week ago, she was given the opportunity to maybe point out some differences. When she was asked on The View, what would you have done differently than Joe Biden? And she said, I cannot think of a single thing. So she is responsible. Joe Biden has said he delegated everything from domestic to foreign policy to her, and she has been by his side every step of the way through every major decision he's made. So she should be held accountable for a record that she continues to say that they are very proud of.
I disagree with this held accountable stance, but I actually agree that I thought that was a very poor answer. I thought that she had an opportunity there to bring in some of the voters who, are maybe on the fence about her because of Joe Biden's policies and because of the idea this would be a continuation of Biden administration. I really didn't appreciate that opinion. And I also don't think that she's a perfect candidate. She's my preferred candidate, but I don't believe she's a perfect candidate. And so I'm fully with you with that. That was
last question. Does it bother
response.
you that there was no primary?
No, it doesn't. No, and it's for a practical reason, and not like I would have preferred there have been a primary, but primaries are very expensive. I would have preferred. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have liked it. I'm just saying that I'm not making a huge issue about it.
So explain to me how the party of democracy can have a candidate that no one voted for.
Because it's within the rules. It's literally within the rules. Like we can change the rules later if we want.
Of course it's within the rules, but like no one voted for her. So how's that democracy?
I mean, they did vote for her for vice president.
Not in the Democrat primary. Joe Biden runs alone in a primary. There's no VP on the ticket.
I'm also not in support of the two-party system. I think the parties themselves have become extremely polarized. I think it's created a polarized community, and I think that the two-party system should be taken down. They should have less power. I actually believe in getting rid of primaries altogether.
You seem like a smart person. What's your name? What's your name? I'm sorry.
Sophie.
Sophie, you're bright.
Thank you.
You're not making a good political decision here. But let me just tell you this.
It's your opinion.
You will look back and you say, wow, Kamala Harris is a corporate shill who actually does support not just the two-party system, she supports a one-party system. She does. Let me finish, and then we'll just call it even. That she does not believe in freedom of speech. She censors her opponents.
Neither does Donald Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump. How could you say that? Who is it? Donald Trump ever shut up?
Wait, I'm sorry. You think that Donald Trump supports freedom of speech?
Of course he does.
He's extremely pro-Israel, and there are 38 states right now that have anti-BDS laws. That is a violation of freedom of speech, and if he were to take office, I'm sure that he would continue those. Also, the internet, I'm sorry, is not a utility. The only way for freedom of speech to be impeded, is if the government does something. But they said that those are private corporations. Do you believe that private corporations should be able to make decisions about what they do?
It's a lot more nuanced than that.
Is it?
Yeah. So, for example, should United Airlines be able to kick us off because we're Republicans now?
Well, what do you think?
Because there's only 3 carriers, and so it's more nuanced than that. For example, should AT&T be able to drop your calls if you say you're supporting Kamala if it's owned by a Republican? Answer the question. If AT&T finds out
that corporations should have the freedom to make any executive decisions that they want.
When it gets to scale and it's a monopoly, it becomes more nuanced than that.
We agree on breaking up monopolies then.
Yes, we do. I know, but that's why it's more nuanced. So, all right, we'll see who wins. Thank you so much.
I was taking notes as I was watching that. I noticed that Charlie Kirk surgically dismantled every argument that she made, gave facts, gave a logical progression to how he got to his answer. And Charlie's right. She didn't make a good case for Kamala Harris. But here's what I wrote down that she said about how she feels about Kamala Harris. She agrees that the inflation is crushing her. She wishes there had been a primary, handled the border poorly, and she didn't like her answer on The View about what would you do different than Joe Biden. Then at the end there, to suggest that Donald Trump is not a proponent of free speech. There is one party that colludes with social media companies to suppress speech from one side of the aisle. That's why, thank God, Elon Musk came along and bought X. Because bad things don't get worse overnight. They progress over time. So can you imagine over Biden's entire presidency, the little tweaks and changes that would have made here and there and the collusion with Twitter or X? We could be in a real ugly place right now. Anyway, my whole point was for her to suggest that Kamala Harris is the free speech candidate and Donald Trump isn't is bananas. As we wrap up, I'm going to list off her talking points in favor of Kamala Harris and see if they sound familiar at all, okay? Trump inherited a good economy from Obama. Biden inherited a bad economy from Trump. What about when Trump shut down the border bill for political reasons? When Charlie said she was the border czar, how did she do at the border? She just went, border czar. Filibuster is undemocratic, and I would have liked to have a primary, but no primaries within the rules. If that is not a walking, talking CNN billboard, I don't know what is. I mean, a lot of times I say, oh, this person's been indoctrinated or brainwashed. I mean, this is the most severe case I've ever seen because every point she made was straight off of CNN. And then if you peeled back even the tiniest layer, there was nothing behind it. She didn't have anything other than those talking points because she heard them. She didn't research them or really learn much about why she's saying what she's saying. She just says them. Sounds an awful lot like CNN to me. Anyway, that's it for today's show. If you like watching woke idiots like this get owned, then click on one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. Otherwise, really appreciate you being here. The end.